Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a 2-year review of my Tesla Model 3, so if you're interested, stay tuned. So a quick overview of my car. I bought it at the beginning of December 2018, and it's been a great car. I do not plan to sell it anytime soon, but with the pandemic this year, I haven't driven it as much as I normally would because I've been working from home since March, so it's been quite a long time. And I'm breaking this review into multiple parts, so I'm going to have all those parts in the description, and you can also see it on the time bar as well. First part is maintenance. So tire rotations is obviously a big part of maintenance. I have only done one tire rotation, that was last year at 10,000 miles. Since these tires are the Michelin MXM4s, they're all-season tires, so they're made to last quite a long time, unlike performance tires like if you have a P3D. And so, like I said, I've only rotated it one time. I do tire rotations myself in my garage, so it doesn't cost me anything. But if you were to take it somewhere, it shouldn't cost you more than $50 to get a tire rotation. On top of that, I usually buy my tires from America's Tire, and if you do that, they actually do tire rotations for free if you just bring the car in. And even if you don't buy your tires there, you can a lot of times just ask them to do it, and they will do free tire rotations for you as a customer service thing to try to get you into into their business later down the line. So at this point, my car only has about 16,000 miles on it, so the tire tread is still totally fine. There's a lot of tread left. You just monitor that. You can do it the old school way with use a penny, and if you can see Abe's head, then you're down to 2/32 of a tire tread, which means you need to get new tires. But for now, mine are still good, and they should be good for a while. And as you know, with an EV, there's no motor, so there's no oil changes, no timing belts, no gaskets and things like that to change. My wiper blades are still good. I'm fortunate to have a garage, and so that's probably very helpful to, the plastic, not the plastic, the rubber on the wiper blades don't get all stuck and kind of hard. That's fine. I haven't even had to change my wiper, add wiper fluid because I don't really use it that often. And the garage has helped as well because the car doesn't get all frozen in the mornings. And so I haven't even had to do that yet. So that part of my maintenance is still zero. I also haven't had any major service issues. I did take the car in once, right when I got the car delivered like a month later, because there were these marks on the back of the seat that I ended up fixing myself after I got the car back because they didn't do anything about it. There was a rubber seal that was kind of messed up, so Tesla did change that. And so that was one time I brought it in. The only other time I brought it in was for the supercharger thunking noise. So I do have a separate video on that specific issue. It is a service bulletin, so you can bring it in for free to get that done. But that's the only 2 times I've brought the car into the service center. I also had my seatbelt changed recently, but for that one, mobile service came out, and that was really a one-off because we have dogs, and one of my dogs kind of messed up the seatbelt, so that's not something you'd have to worry about yourself. And in case you're interested, that install costs $315, but next time I'm definitely doing that one myself. It's not really that hard. The part itself was about $100, so it'd be like $100 for that maintenance item. But again, it's a one-off, and that shouldn't happen to you. As I explained in my maintenance video, the cabin air filter is recommended to be changed every 2 years, but I guess I'm kind of an old school guy. I've been doing ICE car maintenance for a long, long time, and usually you do that on mileage, not time, because, cabin air filters aren't going to deteriorate and go away. And so if the car's just sitting there, you don't really need to change it. So normally I change those at every 30,000 miles. So when I get there, I'll change that. So my cabin air filter is still fine. I haven't changed it at this point. Also in that maintenance video, I went over brake fluid, and so Tesla recommends you check it every 2 years, but just from doing all the car stuff that I've been doing for years and years, I know that brake fluid is usually good for 2 to 3 years, so I'll probably check it and see, but it should be fine. If that's the case, I'm probably going to change it next year at the 3-year mark. I can do that myself as well. It's not really that hard, and so I'll do that next year probably. And this is because in the US, all cars have the same brake fluid basically. It's all under the .3 standard. And so basically every car brand pretty much has the same brake fluid. So it doesn't really matter if you have a Tesla, Honda, Toyota. It's pretty much all the same. So my overall maintenance over 2 years was just that $315 from the seatbelt. But basically that's a one-off like I mentioned. So for you, it would basically be zero. Operating costs are obviously a big one, so I just did a video about how much it would have cost if I were home charge, public charge, or supercharge my car over 16,000 miles, And in that video, it would have cost me, the home cost would have cost me $798. That's not bad to drive 16,000 plus miles, but for me, luckily, I actually get free energy. So I haven't had to pay, I think basically the first month I had the car was the only time I paid energy. And besides that, I've gotten free energy. So I can get free energy at work. I have a lot of free supercharging miles from all the people using my referrals. So thank you very much if you've used my referral code. And there's actually a lot of public charging walking distance from my house that's free as well. So I can always use that as well if I, am bored and I want to walk over there and walk back home. So as you may or may not know, the Model 3 is actually cheaper than your standard Toyota Camry over 5 years, with all the operating costs that are associated with ICE cars, like, oil changes and the motor and all that stuff. And so just keep that in mind. If you can afford that upfront cost, it will be actually cheaper to have a Model 3 over your Camry in the long run. Insurance is another big operating cost. So for me, it was about $1,000 this last year, which for me, I think is a little bit high, but it is what it is. There are a ton of variables with insurance. And so, as the Tesla Model 3, it gets older, that just means that there's more data for the insurance industry to use to value the car and see how much insurance is going to cost. So I'm hoping that with more data down the line, the insurance should drop because the Model 3 is the safest car in the world. Quality of the car. And so there's tons and tons of reports of people saying, oh, we've got these door panel gaps and the quality is crap, the paint is crap and all that stuff. I would think that's a small portion. Normally you're going to hear all the bad ones, but you're not going to hear any of the good ones. And so there's going to be many, many more good ones over bad ones. And so the quality of my car is totally fine. I recently did a video on how the exterior and interior is holding up. And so in that video, basically everything is brand new still. There's nothing really wrong with the car at all. The car drives great still. Nothing is loose. The steering is still really tight. Suspension is fine. And so quality-wise, I think the car is basically brand new still. This past year, I did do a bunch of wrapping. So I did wrap the center console, I wrapped the dash, and I did a chrome delete as well. So I think those things, especially the console, do help protect the car a little bit and give it kind of a nicer feel at the same time. The paint still looks brand new. And so as I mentioned earlier, I am fortunate to have a garage. So I know that really helps the paint. There are a couple of rock chips in the front, which is just normal wear and tear. I don't have ceramic or PPF or anything like that. And so, besides that, the paint is awesome and it still looks pretty much brand new. Range is also a factor with EVs, and I've mentioned in multiple videos that I think if I have one regret with the Model 3, it's that I didn't buy a longer range car. So I do have a mid-range, and when I charge to 90%, that gets me 223 miles. And the only time that would really impact me is if we go on a road trip, because my commute is a whole 8 miles each way to work, so it's not an issue, and just driving around here in the Bay Area around the weekends, it's not an issue at all as well. Of course, with EVs, we're all concerned with battery degradation, and so I'm not sure if I have some or not, maybe a little bit, because last year I was able to charge at 90% and it would go up to 235 miles. And so if I do the whole, app thing where I charge my battery all the way up to 100%, it only says it can go up to 247 miles. So the mid-range is supposed to be rated at 265. And so there might be a little bit of degradation there, but I think it's about 7%, which is kind of in that range, where it's, normal for this, how old the car is and how many miles it has. But if I really want to find out, I could contact Tesla and they could actually look into my particular car against all the other cars in the fleet. They can use a curve to do that. And so if I could do that if I really wanted to see if my battery was like dying or kind of going downhill. But I'm not really concerned about it because range isn't an issue for me. One thing that is nice though is that if I were to contact Tesla and they say, hey, your batteries are degrading and you probably should get, some new batteries, what Tesla can do is they can actually replace individual batteries instead of the entire pack. So that would save you a ton of money was, replacing a bunch of batteries instead of doing the entire thing. So overall, I'm really happy with the car. The car is going nowhere. I don't plan to sell it anytime soon. It's really nimble in the corners and it's just a really nice sporty car. It's really quiet. You could just hit that go pedal and you just hear that EV whine, but no super loud rumbling motor, which is really nice. The Tesla Model 3 is a nice luxury car, we'll say, where basically if you can afford those upfront costs, it's going to be cheaper than regular luxury cars down the line. And what's nice about Teslas is that you keep getting features for free. So basically with these OTA updates, but when I bought the car 2 years ago, it didn't have dog mode, it didn't have Sentry mode. the backup cameras, you couldn't even use the repeaters. So now you can even use the repeaters. And even when you're driving, you can use the repeaters. It's kind of like a blind spot, look out if you're kind of lazy. I'm not going to do that, but you could if you want. And many other features that I got, over the past 2 years that I didn't have when I first bought the car. So would I buy this car again? Definitely. It's great to know that the Model 3 has very little maintenance like other EVs. You don't have to ever go to a gas station again. And with the future coming, now basically the next version of Model 3, the 2021, has even more features than my car. And maybe in a couple years, hopefully next year, the 4680 batteries will be included in the 3 and the Y. And that'll just be even, faster charging and more range. So the Tesla future is looking really good at this point. Hopefully in the future, my wife will buy a Y. And then we can use that, car to do our family trips and things like that. And we'll have hopefully a 4680 battery Tesla, which will be way more efficient than my car, since my car is kind of like old tech now. Hopefully this review helped you. And as I mentioned, Tesla's future is really bright since I have a early adopter, Tesla Model 3. Down the line, hopefully those 4680 batteries will come out, and that'll just really be able to, the Teslas will really be able to compete with ICE cars that way, when you can charge a lot faster and have a lot of range. And so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys want to get a Model 3? Do you want to wait until the newer ones with the 4680 batteries come out, where basically it's going to be almost directly competing with ICE cars in terms of range and how fast they can charge the car? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.